Good afternoon. B flat. Uh, 5/18/2025. Welcome. I know I've made a video on this before. I've had some people in the comments pointing out certain things they're not understanding, and I guess I will have to explain certain concepts on this a bit further. Uh, we will start off with just basically what I have constructed here as far as visualizing specular and diffuse mirages in Autocad just with the use of pictures. We have four of the exact same picture orientated vertically. This would be on the zenith, and they all have the same base point of reference. I have created a stretched out version of the picture, which would be basically the reflection of the vessel across the water at a very low angle. This long reflection, along with the elongated, stretched out specular reflection, and these elongated diffuse reflections exist in front of the vessel, or proximal to the camera or the vantage point. These reflections go to the next point where at great distance refraction occurs, and they will represent themselves to the observer, the camera. Not front, I want a left view. They will represent themselves to an observer at great distance at a non-native angle to the surface. They have been canted up. We see a progressive increase of the refracted environment, which we will call a mirage at this point. The mirage will be, again, based on the reflection, specular or diffuse in nature. But as in this reference, these will have a measurable height to them from a baseline. So now let's go to a front view. We have the four images, and let's take them one at a time. This image stands alone. Not a problem right there. We are seeing an image for the sake of presentation. We're not recognizing any refraction. We have the elongated reflection that I had pulled off to the side, off the surface, standing by itself, which from this angle really reconstitutes itself into visual proportions based on distance over angle. So what I've done is I've taken and moved this reflection that's been reconstituted, and aligned it with the vessel. Okay, so we see a mirage happening underneath the vessel. This would be what people typically refer to as an inferior mirage, but I will call it a specular mirage, because additionally to that, we have a diffuse mirage in front of the plane for the specular mirage. And you can start seeing how we start being able to recreate different scenes that we do observe across the water. Now, if we have a diffuse mirage that doesn't produce a specular mirage, we can just see a boat that we believe is just beyond a geometric horizon. But in a sense, it's not a geometric horizon. It's an optical horizon created by an effect of refraction. And we also see here where I've joined two together. And what this would do is create what is referred to as the aquabands. These are multiple zones of refraction happening. Just like here we have a zone that is diffuse followed by a zone that is specular. This would just be two zones of diffuse reflection. And if we were to grab them and adjust them for height, the vessel itself will disappear. In fact, everything behind it disappears. Sometimes we can see this effect with such a slight overextension. Oh, come on now. That we could pick up bits and pieces of the vessel below and above the Mirage if it has over-refracted. Travis Finley has some footage of a platform when he was on the West Coast that shows this. We have a vessel that was transiting behind a platform, and we could see the vessel completely obstructed, but pick up bits of the platform's legs and the hull of the vessel and the top of the vessel moving across an area of complete obstruction by the diffuse mirage. You know, when you study mirages, you have to explain all of the mirages that you are seeing. We can, use the P900, the P1000 to zoom in on vessels and bring them back into focus. We can bring a vessel back onto the horizon where from the shoreline at the focal length the vessel is not observable. But we can attempt the same thing for other vessels that cannot be brought back on top of the horizon. It's just all dependent on the height and structure of the mirages, whether it's a complete diffuse mirage or a diffuse and specular mirage. All of these combined based on the medium at that time in order for people to interpret what's going on. I could move this mirage further back behind the vessel if the vessel was cropped out. I mean, the problem with this imagery right now is that everything is two-dimensional as far as what we're referencing. But if it wasn't two-dimensional, if I could take a cropped ship, do the same mirroring and stretching processes, I could move this plane of reference, this refracted diffuse mirage beyond the ship, beyond the vessel, and produce a concave interpretation. Right now, the interpretations here and here would lead to someone believing that the interpretation is convexity and that we have a geometric horizon. Now, this is all optical. You have to explain all observations. And I think I'm doing that as far as, visualizing what is happening. Maybe I will take the time in the future to, find a vessel, take a picture of a vessel, or find one that is right on top of the horizon with nothing in the background. And I could probably layer a picture of, the mountains in the background, put a vessel in front of it, and adjust all of these different mirages to recreate just about any view that is observed at different times of the day, different years. It can be done. The concept that I put forth with the upturned edge, that the mirage is a redirection of the water, the light off the water, to the observer, creating these different planes of reference, visual planes of reference that have height. They obviously have height if they have to block something. And with greater distances, these visual planes will continue to build in height, or due to perspective, objects in the distance will decrease in height to where things will disappear. I will put this out as a open video, again, to see where my explanation needs more clarification from individuals. Each step you take in the process brings people closer to an understanding of a message. And I look forward to, again, constructive feedback. If you're just going to come back into these videos and claim, no, that's not what I believe in for refraction, and you're such and such or whatever, don't waste your time. This information here is for open-minded individuals. And if that's the kind of comments you want to leave, you're not that person. Just move along. Thank you.